He says, and they are to teach my people the difference between the set apart and the profane, and make them know what is unclean and clean. And they are to stand as judges in dispute, and judge it according to my right rulings. And they are to guard my Torah and my laws and all my appointed festivals, and set apart my Sabbaths. So here we see that the priests were to instruct the people. It doesn't say the Ruach is going to instruct the people. It doesn't say that he's going to instruct the people directly. He said, I'm going to work through human instruments, those who are set apart and appointed and anointed to be the spiritual leadership of the time, and that they are to instruct the people and to stand in judgment. Now, take that understanding, and now let's read something that probably has given a lot of people a lot of grief in Colossians chapter 2, which is used often to justify breaking Torah because people don't understand what's going on in Colossians. But now that I just gave you context, let's understand what's happening in Colossians. Okay? Colossians chapter 2, you all know where I'm going here. In verse 16, let no one therefore judge you in eating or drinking, or in respect of a festival, a new moon, or Sabbath, which are a shadow of what's to come, but the body of the Messiah. So what is he saying here in this? He's saying, look, only those, like we just read about in Ezekiel, have the authority to stand in judgment about things like new moons and festivals and Sabbaths and eating and drinking. He's saying, stop listening to everybody else. Now, if you're reading Colossians 2:16 and 17 and have no idea about anything like in Ezekiel, you would miss that, wouldn't you? But it's not just in Ezekiel where he says it. There's many places where he says, these are those that I put in place to instruct the people. These are those who I put in place to judge the issues of the people, the matters that they face. And so I don't know how else to make that point clear, but then you come here to Colossians, and Shaul is saying, look, stop being judged by your family members and your friends and other people that you know. Judgment is in the body, and the body has an authority structure. So it's not just everybody in the body that judges. Because people say, well, the judgment is by the body. I'm in the body. No, but the body has a structure. I know that people want to fight against that and fight against that and fight against it, but the body has a structure. Okay, if you look at a body, okay, and then you look at another body, generally speaking, are the arms in the same place on everybody? Are the legs in the same place? Is there a head in the same place? I know parents have said to a child, I have no idea where your head is at. But it's in the same place. There's a structure to the body. And so this is important. So when we look at something like Colossians that deals with Sabbaths, the most likely thing happening here is that they were being judged by remember, a lot of these are Gentiles coming into and joining themselves into the body. They were being judged, as many of you are, by their family members. Anybody have family members that are not keeping new moons, feasts, and Sabbaths judging you? So any idea that that's possibly what's going on in the Colossian community? He's saying, look, stop letting those people judge you that are not supposed to be in a position to judge you. They don't have the authority or the right to do it. So stop submitting to that authority. Very important. He says the issue here is the embracing of commands and teachings of men as being equal in authority to Torah. Look what happens in verse 20 to 23. If then you died with the Messiah from the elementary matters of the world, why, as though living in the world, do you subject yourself to regulations? Do not touch, do not taste, do not handle, which are all to perish with use. Let me stop there. That's where most Christians stop. Oh, that's all that Torah stuff. No, the rest of the verse says, these are according to the commands and teachings of men. Everything that just came before that last part of verse 22 says that we're referring to as teachings of men. Men's teachings about don't touch, don't taste, don't handle, not Yahweh's verses, not Yahweh's instructions. He says, according to the commandments and teachings of men, these indeed have an appearance of wisdom and self-imposed worship, humiliation and harsh treatment of the body of no value at all, only to satisfaction of the flesh. Have you ever not seen certain Christian groups, Catholic groups especially, where they will flail themselves and hit themselves and all these? That's the kind of stuff we're talking about here. The self-imposed things that man has imposed and claims makes them somehow more righteous. Paul was dealing with a problem that is often dealt with everywhere, which is people saying, I'm more righteous than you because. In one place you see that about eating. Well, I'm more righteous than you because I only eat vegetables on Friday, or I only eat fish on Friday, right? The Catholic thing. Or I do this, right? Somehow this makes me more righteous than you. That's what's going on here at the Colossians, saying, look, stop dealing with all this stuff. The elementary things, the elementary matters of the world, not the elementary matters of Yahweh. He says, look, and then you died with Messiah from the elementary matters of the world, not the elementary matters of Yahweh. And then he continues to say, look, I'm talking about those that are the commandments and teachings of men, not the commandments and teachings of Yahweh. So hopefully that finally for a lot of you will clarify Colossians chapter 2. Because that's something that comes up all the time with people. Oh, well, it says here about don't let anybody judge you about how you keep the Sabbath. Well, you shouldn't let anybody judge you about how you keep the Sabbath, except those who are in authority to do so. And so if you're in the body and you're submitted under an authority, then the only one who has the authority to do so is that authority, is that person. Of course, that's part of why nobody wants to be under authority, and there's nobody to do it. So there's nobody that can come up to you and say, I don't think you ought to be doing that. That's breaking the Sabbath. Well, you're judging me. No. It's my job to guard the gate, to help keep you safe.